Hello and good evening on a Tuesday evening. I made an impromptu show here for some of the viewers. Swis is not able to make it tonight, so we are having another Jonathan Goes Solo show. I'm kindly asking all members who are watching to support me with questions, and maybe someone would like to join me later on this show. The show, like the title said or hinted, is about the new Rolex Deep Sea Challenge that has been presented today. And I'm trying to give the viewers a little bit of background and information about this amazing project, in my opinion. So without further wasting your time, I'm gonna hop on to the topic. First of all, I would like to say hello to the viewers on the stream and in the comments. I've seen a comment by Voulez-vous, which is not really visible right now. She asked what is considered to be a girly wrist, and there is a simple reply. There is an industry standard in the Swiss watch industry. So everything that is smaller than a Swiss wrist is considered to be a girly wrist. Everything that is bigger than Swiss wrist is considered to be a true man's wrist. So that is how it goes. Watches 63 is saying Swiss could wear this as an ankle tag. I agree. TT Boy says new Rolex release is a monster. I totally agree with that. But in my opinion, it's a very well-engineered monster. OG Hash Hockey says, is 50 millimeters a watch or a weapon? A good question. And Watches 63 is saying, hello, good evening. I'm saying good evening to Mrs. Higgins, who is currently on vacation, and she told me she can't sleep, and she will tune in to the Swis Jon Show, and maybe she can sleep then. Okay, so we have here the newly presented Sea Dweller challenge that has been introduced today, and to me it came as a surprise because I wasn't really sure when Rolex the last time introduced a watch in the middle of the season and not during one of the more important watch shows. Mrs. Higgins is here and gives me a smiley, which is good. I hope that you can sleep well. So yes, it was a little bit surprising, but it was not, because when David Cameron used the Sea Dweller challenge for his adventure going to the Mariana Trench, and there were only prototypes being shown, I was very sure that Rolex would do sooner or later one of those watches in a normal version. That it would take 10 years, I had no idea, and that was a little bit surprising. And that it came in titanium was very surprising to me, but a little not, and I'll try to go into that a little bit deeper. So we have the specs here of this non-prototype watch. It is available on the Rolex catalog. In theory, you can buy it at your Rolex AD. Not sure how successful you're going to be if you're asking your AD, but it's in the normal catalog. It retails $26,000, a little bit under 26,000 euros. So it's quite a monster. Many people say it's a monster because the diameter of the watch is 50 millimeters compared to the not small 44 millimeter Sea Dweller Deep Sea that you all know. So what is so special about this watch? Well, it is the depth rating, which has increased from 3,900 meters to 11,000 meters. So it almost tripled the depth rating. Tripled, yes, it almost tripled the depth rating. The deepest point in the oceans is almost 10,000 meters. I think it's 10,900 and something. So the 11,000 meters is no coincidence. Just as a background for you to know, Rolex is always over-engineering their watches, and that is the case with this particular watch. It's rated to 11,000 meters, but Rolex gives a 15% allowance, so the watch is tested a little bit over 13,000 meters of depth of water. So it's good to know that the watch has some limits. So yes, we've been talking about the diameter, which is enormous, gigantic, 50 millimeters, which has to do with a high depth rating. It needs a beefy case, but the thickness is also quite remarkable, with 23 millimeters thickness. 9.5 millimeters is alone the thickness of the crystal. So the watch itself is only 13 millimeters thick, which in my opinion is quite an achievement. So why is this watch so special, and why is the mentioning of this ring lock system around the dial? And I would like to explain it a little bit to you. I hope that it's not getting too technical, but it will be a little bit. So let me pull up the next graphics that I have. 1 second. Okay. So this is the schematic drawing of the ring lock system. And what is significant, you have a beefy case, but the hole for the movement and everything is quite large. And that is because of that ring that goes around the movement. You see here that ring. Not sure if you guys can see that. 1 second. So you can see here, this is the ring which defines the ring lock system. And basically how it works is you have a ring sandwiched between two kind of coins. And that is capable to carry a lot of load. The load in the depth of 11,000 meters is around 13.4 tons per square centimeter. So the forces on those cases are really strong. And by using that ring lock system, Rolex is able to produce that watch relatively slim. You have to keep in mind that small hole here is just for the pivot of the setting crown. Look at the big holes that are seen on the main case mid for the helium escape gas valve, and also for the tubus for the crown. So those holes are very big. So you can imagine if you have a case that has those huge holes, it can't carry the load vertically. So what Rolex did is they added that ring system with only one tiny hole for the pivot, and thus the watch is relatively strong to that mechanical force that appears in those depths. What you also have to know is the assembly is pushed from beneath, from underneath. So the crystal is pushed from underneath. It's not fixed from the top. It goes from underneath, and it's only fixed by that titanium clamping ring. So that stops the crystal and that ring lock system from popping out on the top. So it's quite an ingenious system that Rolex invented, and it's also patented. You can also see the case back. doesn't have a thread. The thread is just on that ring that positions the case back. So there is an additional ring. That ring moves, but the case back doesn't move. The case back doesn't turn. The case back just pops in, and it's fixed then by that screw down case back ring. Okay, that was quite technical. I'm checking if someone has some questions because I don't want to lose the audience here. So Watches 63 is asking how many titanium watches will Rolex make now that they started. I tried to address that a little bit later because I think there is and that is only a theory, I think there is a long-term strategy behind that. So we have Raw of the Tiger. The correct answer is is the new Sea Dweller a watch or a monster? The answer is yes, correctly. So the Rolex titanium doubles as a knuckle duster for the crazy watch times in cities. That is a James Bond reference to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, where Bond is remembering to use his Rolex as a knuckle duster. Back then, he probably had a Submariner, probably he had a kind of Explorer. Nobody knows exactly. Price is crazy. I disagree with you, Rodent Mutation. Let me come back to that a little bit later. So we have the knuckle duster again. Hello, voulez-vous? Yeah, well, it's only me. I hope that I don't disappoint you too much, but I'm trying to give my best. So here TT Boy is saying Rolex is really pushing the boundaries with technology and price. Ridiculous. I agree with the technology. I think for such a crazy project, for such an over-engineered watch, I think the double price of a normal deep sea is quite reasonable, if that makes sense. Keep in mind the normal deep sea has only 1/3 of the depth rating. It is in stainless steel, not titanium. And so we're comparing here a supercar with a normal sports car. So I think the 100% premium over the normal deep sea is relatively okay, but there is no discussion about the fact that that a diving watches for $26,000 is quite heavy. But I promise you one thing, and I'm going to check Chrono 24 a little bit later. The first one already shows up. I'm pretty sure the seller doesn't have it in hands, but he's offering it for 85,000 euros already on Chrono 24. So you can get that. Yeah, the glass is thick. It is 9.5 millimeters. So compared to the normal deep sea, which is 5.5, so it is double of the thickness of a normal deep sea crystal. So what else? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Titanium plus Rolex is wrong. Dodger, as always, I disagree with you, and I will talk about that a little bit later. Wait till the Yachtmaster Titanium OG hash hockey. I totally agree, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come. So where is Swis? Swis has some work to do, so he can't join us. So we have here the original OC. People criticize the Omega Ultra 3 for being too big, too thick, and without practical daily purpose. But you'll hear nothing but praise about this. Okay, OC, I didn't criticize the Omega Ultra Deep back then. I won't criticize it today. It is a very interesting point, and I would love to discuss this with you a little bit later, so please hang tight. I'm going to open the panel very soon. So Ultra Deep and Deep Sea Challenge are technical flexes, says original OC, and I agree with that. And just keep in mind, the Omega Ultra Deep was introduced a little bit earlier this year, and it smashed the Rolex Deep Sea's depth rating with 3,900 meters to 6,000 meters. So basically Omega added another 50% and outclassed Rolex in that regard. And now you see Rolex striking back with almost doubling that depth rating. And in my opinion, that is a bold move, and Rolex really shows who's the champion and who is the engineering company here and who has the capabilities and the competence. So I agree it is a technical flex, but with this particular watch, Rolex really blew Omega out of the water, in my opinion. And the interesting thing is, I'm pretty sure that deep sea challenge that we're seeing today is not a direct reply to the Omega Ultra Deep, because half a year is not a development period in the watch industry. I think Rolex stated that they've been working on this particular watch now for 3 years. I'm pretty sure Omega worked at least that long for their watch. So it was a kind of parallel development. Rolex waited a little bit longer, but in my opinion, blew Omega out of the water in comparison, but also in price. I'll give you all that. So, yeah, OG Hash Hockey says he thought it was in the 30s. Actually, the first time I read that article, I was expecting a price slightly below 50,000. So it was only a matter of time before Rolex embraced titanium. J. Gray Sweater, I agree, but I'm not sure if that is the beginning of Rolex flooding the market with titanium watches. I'm still not really sure where this is going, but I will address this a little bit later. So what I'm now going back to the topic. So what Rolex back then for the deep sea developed were those high-tech testing chambers together with Comex, with their partner, because no normal depth tester in the watch industry can test watches to that amount of force. And now for that deep sea challenge that has been presented today, they had to up their game and had to triple that amount. So I would like to know how that machine looks like. So yes, I'm going back here to 1 second. Where's Swis? I have to do everything here myself, which is not easy. Okay, let me share the picture again. So, okay, we've been talking about the depth rating. We've been talking about the thickness. The crystal alone is roughly 1 centimeter, 9 millimeters. Of course, the watch is quite big and quite huge. What I really love that Rolex was doing, they reintroduced the so-called comfères or beveling on the side. It was too long that even Rolex sports models only had a very tiny beveling on the sides, and I totally love that Rolex did that with the titanium watch here to give some additional, and Rancher listen to that, contrast. So it serves a purpose here, because otherwise the watch would be really dull and gray. But I hope that this will be a kind of a renaissance of the bevels on the case sides, because it's just beautiful, and I've been really missing that out on the last sports models. So you can also see the sides are brushed and not polished. What is also significant is the dial is deep black and it's matte versus the glossy surface on the normal sea dweller deep seas. That is a difference. The bracelet is also titanium, and here you can see the profile shot again. A nice touch is the engraving on the case back. 1 second, let me pull that up. Yeah, So there is a kind of homage engraving to the two projects that have been supported by Rolex. The first one in 1960, where Bertrand Piccard took that submarine to the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest place in the oceans, in 1960s, and David Cameron in 2012 with his, I think, what was the name? I think it was only Challenger or Challenge or something like that. So they made a kind of reference to those two projects. So is there a picture of the clasp? Yeah, there is a picture of the clasp. So it is a well-known Sea Dweller system with that additional thingy where you can adjust the bracelet size versus the normal. What is the name? I forgot the name for the Rolex system. No, it's not Easy Link. It is, help me guys, I forgot it right now. So it's Glide Lock. Glide Lock is the name. Okay. So inside the movement is the standard Rolex movement. What is also significant is this watch doesn't have a date. I think that is a nice touch and shows that Rolex listens slightly to the fans who say tool watch with date is not a tool watch. Well, we can debate all night long if it's really a tool watch or just a flex. But I like the fact that this particular watch doesn't have a date, and I hope that satisfies also Mr. OC. Yes, OC is right. Flip lock and extension link. That is the system that it goes. So here you on the very right side you can see the flip lock, which you flip out when you're diving a diver's suit. And here that ratchet is where you slightly adjust the length of your bracelet. Okay, so do we have... Here is a comment. I think it's to reduce glare. Real divers back in the day would file the sides of their Sea Dwellers. That is a very good point. Also, the military guys don't like to have too much polish. So OG Hash Hockey is referring to the brushed sides here on this particular watch. And yes, I know that that divers sometimes brush the case sides on their watches. So now the big discussion, and yeah, we can start the discussion. I think I'm going to post the link here, just in case that somebody wants to discuss that with me. Yes, so the big discussion that I've been observing is 50 millimeters. That is a too large watch. Nobody really is using that, and it's totally impractical. Who is wearing those monsters, and so on and so on. In my opinion, or I totally agree that it's 50 millimeters is too large, even for people who have a normal wrist, not like Swiss. But I think the watch makes some point when you wear above a diver's suit. The problem is we're here talking about crazy things and just over-engineered watches. The normal diver doesn't need more than 300 meters depth. I think the deepest that people can go is even below that. Those 300 meters. Above that, you need helium, you need divers helmets, because otherwise your skull will crack under the water pressure, and so on and so on. So we cannot debate if that is practical, if that has any practical use or not, because a normal submariner is more than enough for any diver, even professional divers. And if it's not enough for a professional diver, maybe he needs a helium escape valve, and then he goes deep sea. But that's it. Nobody really needs a deep sea. Sea dweller is more than enough for any diver. Oh, I can see here the original OC. Hello, welcome. Good evening.
Good to be with you, Jonathan. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for not.
Exciting day for all those who want hype, flexible Rolexes.
Hype flexible watches? You mean
Rolexes? Yeah.
Why do you think it's hype flexible? So thank you very much for not letting me hang here alone. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, I hope other people join the panel. This could be fun.
Okay, yeah, I hope so. Yes.
No, it's obviously not a practical daily watch, but who's to say that it doesn't accomplish everything that it was set out to do, right? Be the ultimate diver. So, whether you are a collector and you see this as the ultimate diver to collect, or you're actually a diver and you want to have the epitome of technical prowess, it accomplishes either. It covers both markets. It's pretty genius.
So, OC, without insulting you too much, I think you remember the days when James Cameron was making the news with the deep sea challenge on his submarine, and I think there was an exhibition even in New York with this particular watch. Have you been there?
The one with the big bubble sapphire crystal. Yeah.
No, I think the watch that has been used by David Cameron. It was exhibited somewhere in New York back then in 2012.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay. So, but I read about it on Hodinkee. I remember that, and I thought, oh, I want this watch. And back then, that steel watch that David Cameron used was even a little bit bigger and very much thicker. And I thought it would be so cool if Rolex would produce this watch. I caught myself with the idea, although I know that I'm never going to wear such a watch.
And so, what is your point?
Well, my point is, even back then, I wanted to this watch to become reality and to get true. And today is the day where Rolex finally made it, and they outdid themselves by making it in titanium and no date.
Yeah, it's got a lot of technical achievements and a lot of firsts that Rolex lovers are going to really be super happy about, especially the titanium. The first titanium production watch. It's interesting how you brought up the beveling on the case that transitions to pretty thick beveling on the lugs. I think that's designed to reduce the visual width of the case to make it not look like a super case.
Come on, don't destroy that romance. I was just so excited with Rolex for reintroducing those bevels.
No, I like them, but I think they're there because they don't want those lugs to look too thick and be too reminiscent of the super case. But are there any details on that lug width for the bracelet yet? Is that a 22 millimeter lug width? Or do we not know yet?
I would assume it's 24, to be honest, with such a huge watch. I think 22 is not enough.
And then I think I wanted to bring up two specific points that Rolex nerds are going to be thrilled about, or at least will comment about and be excited to discuss. And the first one was the introduction of a new number at the end of the reference numbers. So as most people know, the last digit of the 6-digit reference number refers to the material used for the case.
Yeah.
Right. So all of whether it's a 5 for rose gold or 9 for whatever, but now we actually have a 7 at the end, which means that all the available numerals are taken.
Yeah.
So the question
Good point,
is, what happens if you want to introduce a watch in a new material?
They just add a number, just like they did with the new movement.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so that was one thing. And then the second thing I wanted to highlight was Rolex fans are always super particular about the crown markings You know, there's people that have they dedicated their whole lives to developing charts to understand, you know, the crown markings for screw down crowns, for triple lock versus double lock crowns. And so here we have the introduction of a new crown marking.
Yep.
It's 2 dots with a line in the middle. And so that's interesting, right? It's like, and I think it's also fascinating that they show it here. They show it here at like a 45-degree angle to the top of the case. They don't show it, you know, like it's, in other words, like, hey, don't pay too much attention if the crown is right side up, because 99% of you aren't going to get it that way, you know.
You know, OC, that is exactly the reason why I hate you, because because I'm so excited about this overall project, and you're just picking some small markings and some details, and I'm just loving the overall concept, and you go so deep, and I feel so foolish and shallow. So shallow.
Everyone's going to cover all the big stuff. There's I'm going to cover the little things. And by the way, the comment that I made in the chat, which is my third point, is if you squint, this is a dead fucking ringer for the Breitling Super Ocean. 100%. If you look at the face of this watch, dead on, and you pull up and you replace in your mind the white space and the original gas escape valve and the ring lock system with numerals, you have a Breitling Super Ocean 90% of the way. And it'll be fascinating to see the people who panned the Super Ocean and what they think about this.
But Rolex OC, let's be honest. That ring lock system was invented before the Breitling Super Ocean came.
I know. There's totally. I'm just talking about visually. Visually, they look very, very similar. I don't know if you have the. I know Swis is usually the one who pulls up the websites, but if you could bring it side by side, you would see.
Yeah, sure. Side by side, I have no idea how to do that. To be honest, I can. Okay. I can just pull up a Breitling Super Ocean if you want. But I have no idea how to do that side by side.
Okay, well, maybe we'll just take a visual snapshot in our mind of what this looks like.
Yes, please. I'm trying
with
to find
the black bezel, the kind of silverish white ring, and then some very small black dial in the middle.
The problem is here with Google Images, I can't find any black dial. Let me check the Breitling webpage. Okay. Got it.
Anyway, it's an exciting day for Rolex.
I'm close.
Exciting day for Rolex fans. Exciting day for VIPs who are no doubt texting their ADs frantically to get first on the list to be able to have this, regardless of the price. So it's fine.
So you mean that?
There you go.
Yeah. I really can't disagree with you there. Not sure if Breitling loved that visual appearance on the normal deep sea and just made it a little bit more dramatic. You and I know that they had a vintage watch also with this kind of combination or visual effect. So it is hard to argue. I see the similarities. I see your point. Yes,
it's not totally similar, of course. It's just when visually, that's the first thing that I saw was wow, this is very similar because of that big ring, the outer ring. You know, Rolex is very, I'm not gonna say lazy, but they tend to want to overuse the same dials over and over and over again, regardless of the piece, regardless of the size of the case. So I would be curious to know, is this the exact same dial that's used in the Sea Dweller 43, or the same one that's used in the 44 millimeter regular James Cameron?
I would think so. Yes, I would think so, because
correct.
Same movement without. Does the deep sea actually have a date or not?
No, I don't think it does. No.
The normal deep sea. Let me check. No, the deep sea has. The deep sea has a date. So, but it's basically the same movement. 1 second, just to fill the audience.
This is the 31. This is the 3130 versus the 3135.
Yeah, exactly. So there is not a substantial difference, but here you see the deep sea Cameron, and it has a date.
That one looks so much proportionally better.
Well, unless you see it in real life, it's still a chunky thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to hop on and express those views, And
I-
I'll leave
but-
it. But if someone else wants to jump on, that'd be great. But thanks for having me on.
But I don't want to leave you before asking the question.
Sure.
What is the deal with titanium and Rolex now? Why do you think they made that?
I have no idea. This must have been a pretty extensive financial investment and technical investment for them to make.
Yes.
Over many, many years to develop this. And they actually go out of their way in the videos to show how they have this big plate of titanium and that they're laser cutting the cases and stamping the cases out of it. So it's obviously a pretty significant investment that they made to do this. Other than that, I don't know. Doing this for one model doesn't really seem to make sense. I think people were expecting a titanium Submariner or a titanium Yachtmaster, I believe, because there was pictures of some guy wearing a titanium Yachtmaster. But we got this.
But I think it makes totally sense to make this. So first of all, there is a practical reason. This watch, as far as I remember, is a little bit over 250 grams. Marcello's Platona is 180, just as a comparison. So the platinum.
No, the Platona is like 270. I think it's
270. Okay, then I have it. Okay, so but then it's similar with the platinum bracelet. With if that watch would be made out of steel, it would be over 350.
Right.
So
the practical reasons to make it's because of the mass in the case and bracelet to make it somewhat wearable and lighter. Yeah.
Yeah, I think also the mechanical properties in terms of strength is a little bit more to the advantage of titanium. But in my opinion, this is a kind of test mule. So I think we both can agree that Rolex won't do hundreds of thousands of those.
Well, hundreds of thousands of anything is really difficult for them to do. But let's say for the investment in the tooling and the investment in the titanium, having a source of developing their own Rowleks titanium. I don't know. This has to make its way to some other watches.
Exactly.
Within the next few years.
This watch is baby steps. This is Rolex baby steps into titanium, and they will observe the entire production process and also the first customer feedbacks and probably some potential issues, and they will solve it on a small scale instead of going full power and make a popular model just like a Submariner or Yachtmaster is not a popular model, but they are, in my opinion, they are doing a small number of production. They are testing the waters, and this will be just the beginning of some bigger thing that they are doing in the future.
Yeah. So by the way, I mentioned two of the little Rolex nerd idiosyncrasies with the reference number and the case, the crown engraving. The third one is, I don't know if anybody caught this, but it comes in a special box.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. So if
do you have a picture?
If you go through the videos, there is a picture of James Cameron, and he flips open a box, and it has a special logo or some kind of special insignia on the inside of the box. It's not a standard Rolex box. So I think that's another one that's designed to make it more collectible, make it something that's very special, something that justifies the $26,000 price. Of course, it's got all the technical achievements, but I think they want this to be something that is given to people who are very special Rolex collectors.
Yeah, I totally agree, and there will be a lot of fighting for this particular watch among Rolex collectors. I think the $26,000 price tag is not really an obstacle to.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes. So now the question is, did I forget any questions that have been previously?
If you're able to pull up the Rolex website, maybe you could see that. You can see some of the overviews or some of the the videos where it might show a shot of the box. But otherwise, other than that, It's not a watch for me, that's for sure. I mean, I've turned down Deep Seas, I've turned down James Cameron's. They're not for me.
Just for collecting purposes?
No, I'm not gonna. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so we have here the video, and right at the beginning, he was showing the box.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, you see that?
But I can't stop it.
Yeah, you can't stop it. So you just have to watch it 50 times in a row and see if you can make it out, or someone can screen capture it.
But there is only a special logo, and probably it's a little bit more oversized than just the normal one.
Yeah. Well, the normal one just has a Rolex, and it has the flip where you put the warranty card and the book.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have that.
Yeah, I agree. So yes, I'm just trying to find the picture of the titanium mold
stamping. Yeah,
stamping. Yes. So here you can see the assembly process of the ring lock system, which is quite interesting. I mentioned that before. Oh, does
if you click on the right arrow, okay.
Yeah, 1 second. Oh, no, okay. Doesn't work like that. On the right, we have here.
There's a picture of the box that was, I'm not sure if he was going to open it or what.
You mean that?
Yeah. Looks like the same. Is it the same? It's the same video.
Yeah, I think it's the same video. Yeah. Now I wanted to go to those titanium blocks that they show. Yeah, here they are. You mean that?
Yeah, they actually have a video that shows the animation of the laser cutting of it.
Oh, really? You've been researching much more than me. Also here on the webpage?
Yeah, if you go back to where those videos are, chances are one of them will have, I can't read German, but one of them will be like about the titanium.
1 second. Here's a crown. Can't get it here.
Anyway, drop the link for someone else, and maybe they'll jump on.
Yeah. So you have to go?
I do. I have to grab a bite of dinner. So
okay, I'm kicking you out. Thank you very much for hopping on. Yeah. Okay.
Right, see you later.
Bye bye. We'll see. Bye.
Bye everyone.
Okay, so I've seen a comment by Aussie Expert who said tooling paid for by Tudor Pelagos. I know that Rolex is not totally unexperienced with titanium, of course, but I'm not sure if the alloy is different or if there are differences. So as far as I know, Rolex, they are very careful, very conservative with new technology, with new materials, and they use it on a small scale just to learn and move on from there. By the way, that is the old Deep Sea Special. That was the first one that went down to the Mariana Trench in 1960. I was fortunate to handle one of those, but that this particular watch looked different because most of the watches from that kind were in two-tone, interestingly. So that the watch that went down to the Mariana Trench was a two-tone watch, and I had the privilege to hold one of them. Rolex were supplying their ADs with reproductions or dummies of this particular watch. And this is how it looked. The thickness was 36 millimeters, and the crystal alone was half of the watch's thickness. An interesting fact is this crystal has been plexi. It was not a mineral crystal, not a sapphire crystal. This was a plexi crystal. And the size was pretty small. Back then, I thought it was gigantic, but the case size was only 42 millimeters. Of course, the long lugs then make the watch really long and totally unwearable. It was more or less a standard Rolex oyster bracelet that has been attached to this particular watch. So yeah, it's you can see I'm out of words, the dimensions or the relations. So I'm just checking about other comments here. So Bufaris says, I'm buying one because no one wants it. Thank you very much, Bufaris, for supporting Rolex. That's very kind of you. I think in this particular watch, it is just like the little Destro sprite. It really doesn't make sense, but collectors go crazy anyhow because it's just out of Rolex usual line and ballpark. So everything is a little bit different. Oh, we have another visitor. So hello, Jay Gray. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Is this
How are you?
unusual? I'm doing well, thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good.
How is Snooky?
That is a good question. Snooky is doing very well. Snooky is our orphan cat that is living on our garden chair. I'm just trying to fill in the people that haven't watched Crappy Luxury. He just had dinner, and now he's digesting on our garden chair.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that Snooky is good.
Yes, Snooky has a new strategy to sneak into the house.
Okay.
Because usually when I open the door, I push him back because Mrs. Higgins won't allow him into the house.
Mm-hmm.
What he does now is that he throws himself on the foot mat, on the doormat,
Mm-hmm.
and just shows his belly and says, "Rub my belly, so don't kick me out." So that is the latest trick that he's having up on his sleeve.
Well, he's giving himself to you.
Oh yeah. He's using every dirty trick that is in the playbook of cats.
And you think he will break your wife's heart?
Well, I hope that Mrs. Higgins is now sleeping. I hope that he's able to break her heart. Let's wait until the temperatures are really getting low.
It's the right animal to bring into a non-pet lover, a cat. You know, they endear themselves, don't they?
I wouldn't say my wife is a non-pet lover. I would say she doesn't have any experience with pets, and she's very reserved, and she doesn't like the hairs. And boy, Snooky is leaving a lot of hair. So
Right. Well, he needs to be brushed every day. Do that outside. Do that outside.
Do you think if I'm starting brushing him, that will make him any more reserved? I think he's getting very close then to me, and it's even more difficult than to defend him.
No, if you brush him, he'll be even more endeared to you.
Yeah, that is what I'm fearing. You know, the threat is Mrs. Higgins is going to divorce me.
You have to decide, and of course decide with her. But that's how.
I hope that Mrs. Higgins one day decides for Snooky because he's just an adorable guy.
I don't know what the winters are like for you there in Germany, but I've seen cats living on essentially stray cats, but they've been given a cardboard box and a blanket. And they've survived through the winter living on someone's porch. They get fed, they get water, and they've survived. So,
yeah, I have the feeling at the moment our temperatures are dropping down to 5 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure how much that is in Fahrenheit. I get the feeling that it's starting to get really cold for him because sometimes in the night he's not there. He probably then finds his place in the garden house. So I think we are reaching a point where it's not comfortable for him anymore to sleep. I told you about that cat tree that I got from the neighbor. Unfortunately, so far I couldn't convince him to go into that little cat house, and it looks really a little bit small for him.
Okay, well, make it some, like I said, cardboard boxes. I saw cats living on porches in Canadian winter in cardboard boxes.
Okay, maybe I make a cardboard box and put that on that cat tree, just to make it a little bit bigger for him.
Well, a cat tree sounds like a climbing apparatus, a scratching post.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I would keep it low to the ground.
Yeah, the problem is we have other cats who then may be attacking him. Just last week, he got a scratch on his nose because he was fighting with another cat for the territory here.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
He has staked your claim upon you.
Yeah,
so-
exactly. Yes.
So anyway, Rolex titanium. I think Aussie made a nice, interesting point that Tudor has been making titanium for a couple of years now,
Mhm.
and yeah, Tudor is the testing site for Rolex.
Yeah, for sure. I don't disagree with you there. Yes. So, do you think that Rolex will continue that path, or if it's just a one piece exception just for this particular model, because otherwise it would be too heavy?
I don't see. I have no idea what Rolex is doing. I'd be more interested to know what Rolex real estate holdings are than what they're going to do with their next watch. But do you really think they're going to put it into the other lines of watches? I kind of doubt it.
You remember that titanium Yachtmaster prototype that we have been seeing?
I have not seen that, so no, I
Oh,
can't.
one
I can't
second.
recall. I can't recall.
Rolex titanium Yachtmaster monochrome. Very bad with multitasking, so I have to talk about what I'm doing. So,
Well, very well. No, it's good. Good to know what you're up to.
so let me check. There was an article at Monochrome, and I'm trying to pull that up. Spotted Yachtmaster titanium. Okay, so that was that was 1 year ago, and a titanium Yachtmaster prototype was spotted on the wrist of a very famous sailor, and Rolex later then confirmed that it was genuine. So this was not bogus.
Okay.
That was a genuine prototype.
So I would imagine this going into any of their water watches, if that's a proper, like a Yachtmaster, like a Submariner,
Yeah.
like a Deep Sea. But would they release a titanium GMT?
That is a good question. That is a very good question, but I think we both agree that the Submariners make sense, and probably the Yachtmaster as well in titanium. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Non-corrosive, lightweight.
Yeah.
The Deep Sea 100% makes sense. You want less weight as possible.
And it's also a cool look. Look how gray that watch is. We are having the DLC coated watches from virtually any other manufacturer. Rolex never did that. So why not changing the tone a little bit of your cases by using titanium? Make it a little bit stealth, a little bit more cool. Interesting here on that prototype, it seems that the case flanks also are brushed, just like OC mentioned before.
Does it have a beveling, though, on this Yachtmaster?
That I can't see because the picture is too blurry. But from the picture, I can see that the case flanks are not polished.
And have we seen beveling on titanium like that before?
Me personally, not. I remember I was talking to a guy from IWC about that many years ago. The problem is with titanium that the process of casting it always is problematic in terms of porosity. So watchmakers are hesitant in taking off material on titanium, because when you take off material, you're running the risk that you have those little bubble holes then.
Right.
So usually the case manufacturer prefer to forge them, but not to mill out too much.
So
because of that porosity.
is this Rolex's real coup d'etat with this new watch?
Probably yes. It is a flex. I agree. Yes.
Interesting. I don't think they'll stop. Why not add another? Why not? They've got gold Submariners. Why not have a titanium Submariner? Why not?
Well, financially, it may make more sense for them to make a Submariner Platinum. Actually, I'm waiting for that to happen, but I wouldn't. I think they could charge a premium over steel for titanium. So even financially, it may make sense for Rolex.
Would that be? And that wouldn't be an inflated price. Titanium would be more expensive than steel.
Usually it is slightly. Knowing Rolex, they will make it very much more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is harder to work with. Am I wrong?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And it's also very difficult to touch up when you scratched it.
But it's less resistant to scratches, no?
It depends a little bit on the titanium grade. The deep sea challenge that we've been talking all evening long is grade 5, which is pretty rough compared to grade 2 titanium, which is relatively soft and prone to damages. So grade 5 is much better in that regard.
Okay, but they're not using grade 5.
Yeah, they are using grade 5.
Okay. Excellent.
They're using grade 5 for this.
So they're not messing about. They're not messing about.
No, definitely not. No.
Does Rolex provide watches to any armed services currently? Do we know?
I think officially not, as far as I know, not.
Okay.
I remember that Rolex made a program for British soldiers in World War II, where they could order a watch, and they got the promise to get one delivered after war, and Rolex kept their words, and it was a very discounted, very attractive price. So that was a kind of way of Rolex supporting the British troops indirectly. I'm not sure which armies really used Rolex. I think the French Navy at some point used them. The U.S. Navy at some point used Sea Dwellers, but not currently, as far as I know.
Right.
Okay, so let's just have a look here. Aussie Expert says he turned. One second. Don't want to ban him and accidentally. I turned down a gold Yachtmaster. I'd say yes to a titanium Yachtmaster. Was it a white gold Yachtmaster, Aussie, or was it the rose gold one? Because that is another question. You know, the Yachtmaster comes in 2 sizes for men, 40 and 42. The 42 is only in white gold, and the other ones are in 40. And that prototype is in 42 millimeters, so that is the larger size.
Well, this new one that we're discussing is too big for my thigh.
Yes. Unfortunately, and that is a common criticism, is that with all the prices going crazy, Rolex is not making watches anymore that people put on their wrist, because their value is so high that they're scared to lose them, to scratch them, or whatever. And a similar criticism could be made for a 50 millimeter watch, but I just can't say it enough how amazing I find it that Rolex virtually doubled the depth rating of the Omega Ultra Deep and just showed them who's boss. I think that was an amazing move. And,
so a flex move.
It is a flex move, yes. But you know, is it really a flex move if you're really superior to your competitor and just show what you're capable to do? Is it then flexing or just showing competence?
If Omega did it first and they're saying, look what we can do, then yeah, it's a flex move. They're not sitting on their laurels. They're saying, "The heck with you. We're the king. We got the crown. We're number one."
Mm. You know, a common criticism for titanium is that people want that hefty feeling, that weight that have from steel or even from precious metal watches, and that titanium feels cheap for them.
Well, look at the guys in the picture that are on the screen now.
Mm.
Do they want a heavy watch or a light watch?
Definitely a light watch, but there are no snowflakes, I would say.
There are no snowflakes, but they want the lightest, most efficient equipment possible across the board.
Oh, absolutely. That even there, his steering wheel is made out of carbon fiber.
Right.
So yeah, of course, they're caring about weight,
Mhm.
and that is basically their spirit in competition, always being better, always being lighter, always being faster than the other guys. And usually, weight or less weight equals in more speed with sailing, with cars.
Well, just a greater efficiency. Period.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so do we have any more questions about that titanium Rolex? I would love to pinpoint to one of the watch auctions because I found a watch that I really love and I wanted just to showcase it here to the viewers, but I didn't want to stop the conversation here about this particular Rolex.
Well, you have excellent taste, so I wouldn't mind seeing.
Okay. So yeah, before we are moving to the last topic of tonight, I just wanted to give a shout out to Archie Luxury, as it seems his watch collection has been stolen while he was in the US, and I find that really terrible and devastating to hear. And I just want to put a shout out to Archie, and I hope that he recovers maybe one or two of the watches, but I sincerely hope that he will start over again, that he will show that he's a stand-up guy and not stop collecting.
My first thought was karma. I don't want to say anything more than that. My second thought is I hope he gets his entire collection back.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, then it will be, hopefully they were all insured. And if so, it'll be good content for him and fun for us to watch how he replaces his collection over time.
Yeah, look, I won't go that far with karma. I think nobody really deserves to have their watches stolen. But I just hope that that there will be a positive outcome out of that. But it's for sure devastating, and it is a tough time for him. And I really feel bad for him. And
well, as we would for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So there is a very interesting collection by a collected man, which is one of my favorite web pages. And this particular auction is ending in 16 hours. So just in case somebody really wants to grab this particular watch, he must be quick. At the moment, the highest bid is £16,000, which is like 18.5 or 19,000 US. And this particular watch just caught my attention because it's so symmetrical and so unusual. At first, I thought it's AP, that it's an AP that I didn't know, but I found out that it has been made by Sven Andersen, and it is a perpetual calendar in yellow gold with that beautiful guilloche dial with different patterns on the sub dials compared to the main dial. And with a retrograde display of the date, which has been very unusual back then. And in my opinion, it's just a gorgeous watch. 1 second.
Annual or perpetual?
Perpetual calendar.
Okay. Interesting lugs. I wouldn't mind seeing how the lugs come into the case. 16,000, you said?
At the moment, 16,500.
And you haven't made a bid, which is why you're sharing this with us.
No, I haven't made a bid. I won't do a bid because I have another project that I'm working on. The diameter of the watch is 38 millimeters, so it's quite reasonable. There is unfortunately no information when this particular watch has been made. I would guess that it's a couple of years ago that this has been produced. But in my opinion, it looks really beautiful. It is a JLC movement that has been used here. Why can't I can enlarge it. Yeah, but that is not really crisp. Now it goes. It has been made for an Italian jeweler. And that is the case back. What is interesting, as far as I can see, those lugs look like the lugs that have been later used by Breguet. So probably it's the same case maker, but it's only a guess. I just love the visual appearance.
Yeah, the rotor.
Mm-hmm. 1 second.
I'm seeing 5 words. I'm seeing fake, latte, or
No.
Luigi Verga, Milano. What is that?
So Sven Andersen is Danish, but he spent his professional life in Geneva, and in Geneva people speak French. That is a crazy language that Swiss is also using with his fancy accent. So what it says is fait pour. And this means made for, and then Luigi Verga in Milano. That is what he said.
Okay.
And I would assume that this is a gold insert just to increase the mass a little bit of the rotor.
JLC, your favorite movement manufacturer?
No.
Okay. Who was that? Who was that?
No, but it's a beautiful movement. There is nothing wrong about that. I like JLC movements, and I respect JLC for supplying all those companies with their ébauche. We have to keep in mind there would be no Nautilus just like it is today without JLC. The first Nautilus had a JLC ébauche. Same with AP. Same with the Vacheron 222. All of them had the JLC ébauche. Not this one, slightly different one, but JLC was the supplier and still is the technical powerhouse for the Swiss watch industry, of course.
Mm-hmm. So I wonder if any of the viewers will snap this up and share it with us.
Oh, that would be amazing. You know that I have a watch on order with the Sven Andersen, which should be delivered very soon. And
actually, so it's already ordered and it's on delivery.
It's ordered, it's paid, and I'm just waiting for the finishing. We had some problems because the dial cracked during the printing process. Then we had a little bit problem with the rotor. So I'm not sure when it will be ready, but it has been promised that it's going to be ready before Christmas. But this is not a top secret project. Viewers that tune in here regularly know about it.
Well, it's good to hype it up, right? Now that you've got one locked in.
I don't need to hype up the watches that I'm buying. My watches that I'm buying are usually so crazy and not really mainstream that nobody else is buying them.
Yeah, the word that came to my mind was obscure.
Okay, yeah.
You show me watches that I would not have seen without you showing them to me, for sure, over the months.
But look, that is the purpose of the channel. I don't want to be the 100th channel that shows some Rolex watches. Well, today I am. I hope that we are a little bit quicker than the other guys. So I just wanted to show that novelty and this particular watch. And,
well, it is. Is it not aside from that watch where the crystal was twice the thickness of the. Has there been a larger Rolex before?
I don't think so, no. But it was just the construction of the time, because the most resistant against mechanical pressure is a ball. It is a globe.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense in the technology of the 1960s to have a half-domed crystal then, just to resist that mechanical forces that are on this watch.
Any indication of what thickness that crystal was?
Yes, I wrote it down. It was 18 millimeters in total. 1 second. I'll try to bring a picture up. Yeah, 1 second. I tried to prepare this topic, so have a look. That is a profile picture.
That's just just from this angle you can't see the dial at all, but it's a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spaceship.
Yeah, but just imagine this particular watch is now over 60 years old,
and it still looks like a modern spaceship, if you will.
I agree. Yeah,
and even in this picture, it looks like constellations are being shown up. This angle.
Yes,
it looks more like constellations than a timekeeper.
But if you keep that thickness in mind, which was necessary to withstand the pressure deep down, the watch itself was 36 millimeters thick, and now we are down to 23, with the same depth rating.
Okay, well, kudos to Rolex.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so I posted the link again, just in case that somebody wants to hop on for the after show. I think we're finishing the show for today. Thank you very much, Jay Gray, for hopping on. Also, thank you very much to OC to join me and not let me alone. I've seen a lot of comments here in the comment section. I hope that we covered most of them. If not, please ask again on the next show. And yeah, so far, thank you very much. You have a good evening and hope to see you all very soon.